Electric and hybrid vehicles are the automotive industry's current options for eliminating or minimalizing the necessity of gasoline. But that idea has been around for quite some time. There have been other considerations such as hydrogen, steam, biofuels, charcoal, nuclear energy, and others. To varying environmental impact, of course. We're not looking for charcoal to be the new gasoline. But there is one fossil fuel alternative that is commonly associated with generating energy, but not very commonly associated with automobiles. So just like your favorite childhood source of sugar water, we're going to be unleashing the power of the sun. See, the history of solar-powered cars goes all the way back to 1955 when William G. Cobb of General Motors released a concept car called the Sunmobile, which was a vehicle powered by solar panels. See, the selenium solar panel had been improved just recently in 1953, and taking that idea, the concept car was a 15-inch balsa wood model that sort of just looked like a car with miniature solar panels slapped on it. As goofy and childhood science experimenty this vehicle looked, this was where the earliest source of the idea of solar-powered cars would have some sort of physical object associated with it. The first example of solar energy being used in an automotive implementation. The efficiency, however, of 1953 selenium solar panels was roughly around 0.5% energy into power. And the fact was, if the vehicle was full-sized and if the solar panels ran at 100% efficiency, the vehicle would only have 12 horsepower. So cool idea, but absolutely no practicality to it. Solar panel technology would slowly increase as the years would go by. And that brings us to the 1980s and Larry Perkins. Perkins is a former V8 supercar team owner and race car driver from Victoria, Australia. G'day. But at this time, Perkins was a very successful car racer, successful across Australian motorsports except for Formula One, where he really kind of struggled. But in the 1980s, he teamed up with his brother Gary to work on a different project. And yes, if you picked up on it, it's Gary and Larry Perkins. And it's Gary, not Gareth. Promoted by Danish-born Australian adventurer Hans Tholstrup, who was the first person to circumnavigate Australia in an open powerboat, and sponsored by British Petroleum / BP, Larry and Gary began working on a vehicle in which they could make a transcontinental journey across Australia powered only by the sun. Side note, I was pretty surprised to hear British Petroleum would support a solar panel powered car when all of their money kind of comes from selling gasoline to cars. But you know what, whatever, sounds cool. They were hoping to drive from Scarborough, a suburb of Perth, all the way to the Sydney Opera House on the other side of the continent / country / continent. Construction began on what would first be called the Quiet Achiever, which I think is a cool name for a solar-powered car. And it would start with a fiberglass body, steel tubing, similar to what's used in lightweight aircraft, and featured a large set of curved windows made out of clear fiberglass. It was topped with 8.5 square meters, or 91 square feet for us Americans who are offended by the metric system, of photovoltaic silicon cell solar panels. However, once British Petroleum got involved, Quiet Achiever's name would later be changed due to this sponsorship. It would then be called the BP Solar Trek, which I have to say is a way worse name. That being said, it gave them additional funding and they prepped for the excursion in December of 1982. A reminder for my fellow Northern Hemisphere people, December down under is actually the height of summer for them, despite being the height of winter for us. Gives them a lot more sun. So on December 19th, 1982, Hans Tholstrup and Larry Perkins would depart on their transcontinental journey. This journey was a length of 2,560 miles, or a length of 21,626,627 bananas. Again, I'm an American. Down with the metric system. Okay, so the 22 million bananas is about equal to 4,130 kilometers. I feel like I need to wash my mouth out. And this goal was set to make that journey across that length in under 20 days. So at least 123 miles would have to be covered every day, or about 206 kilometers. To commemorate this journey, the adventurers would fill a bottle up with water taken from the Indian Ocean on the Perth side of Australia, and would then look to dump it back into the Pacific Ocean on the Sydney side of Australia. So the journey kicked off, and I'm going to name the cities that this vehicle passed through, certain to mispronounce them. So Australians, please forgive me, and I hope you get a kick out of me trying. Coolgardie, Norseman, Cockle-Biddy, Eucla, Seduna, Port Augusta, Peterborough, Broken Hill, Wilcania, Narromine, Dobbo, Orange, Bathurst, Katoomba, then on to Sydney. How'd I do? Over their journey, they accumulated thousands of spectators that would stop and gawk staringly as they walked by, or stare gawkingly. Some of these people included Indigenous Australians of the Nullarbor Plain. They were monitored throughout their entire journey by the Confederation of Australian Motorsports to make sure that the vehicle was not powered by anything other than the sun and that nobody was cheating. Finally, after 19 days, on January 7th, 1983, so you're saying a whole year passed by, don't you know, the Quiet Achiever rolled into Sydney on a bright, sunny day. Well, I assume it was sunny because the vehicle was running. Thousands were waiting for them, and they arrived with much fanfare and celebration. They beat the 20-day goal, and they were able to dump a little piece of the Indian Ocean into the Pacific Ocean. Really was a very amazing feat, as the first transcontinental journey across Australia period by an automobile actually took 30 days. The Quiet Achiever would average about 14 miles per hour or about 23 kilometers per hour across this entire journey. A journey the length of 36 million double cheeseburgers placed end to end. Oh, say, can you see? Today, in a conventional automobile taking that same route, it would take you about 43 hours if you were to go nonstop. And the Quiet Achiever now rests on display at the National Museum of Australia in Canberra. But, inspired by Quiet Achievement's success, Tholstrup would go on to begin a competition involving solar-powered vehicles. It would lead to 1987's World Solar Challenge. It's the biggest solar-powered race there is, now called the Bridgestone World Solar Challenge. Race from Darwin to Adelaide, which actually crosses the continent north to south instead of west to east. It became so popular that it actually had to expand into different classes of solar-powered vehicles, and now hosts vehicles that are capable of around 60 miles per hour or more. Partnered with the fact that solar power technology is approaching 50% efficiency of energy to power, who knows what the future of solar power vehicles will hold. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching this episode on the Quiet Achiever journey. My name is Mitchell. I'm sitting here at Fred Haas Toyota Country. Hope you got a kick out of it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot.